Hi there. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday to you. Just this for a sec. Yeah, happy Friday. If there is still such a thing, I know that everybody is working really hard to be super productive right now, and in many cases, feeling kind of guilty about it too. About are you feeling productive enough, or are you doing what you need to be doing? And so I know, when I used to feel like this a lot, um, I would find that I would need a weekend for my weekends. I would use my weekends to work and I would just blow through them. I completely lost all track of, what time was as soon as I started working from home. As soon as I left like the structure of a 9 to 5, I realized I sort of lost touch with those things that gave me my time structure so that I wasn't as able to just immediately set up my boundaries between work and play. And as such, I kind of ended up losing my weekends for a while, and it had bad results. But now, right, when so many of us are working from home, pretty much everybody's working from home now in one way, shape, or form, it is more important than ever to protect those weekends, to take your weekend, to honor it, to protect it. So here are some three things that I have learned from years of working at home and what I figured out at the beginning to get that work-life balance so that I could enjoy my weekends. Hey, Steve, how you doing? Thanks for joining. All right, so yeah, I am Owen. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. I hope if you are watching on YouTube that you will subscribe to this video. Push the subscribe button below, and also I hope you will join our group here on Facebook, the Abundance Hackers group. Just search Abundance Hackers on Facebook. Yeah, so basically, when I started working from home, when I left the corporate world, started working from home, I found it easy to just be like, oh, the weekends are a good time to catch up on everything. If I needed some extra time, because I'm sort of already at home. It's not like when I was working in an office at the weekends, I wasn't around my work. My work was sort of always there. So I'm like, okay, well, this is a time when, people are not doing, as much work. I'm not going to be bothered as much. So I'll just catch up on some work. And I did that long enough that eventually I started just sort of doing that all the time. It wasn't like I took any time off. I was just sort of in this perpetual work state when I didn't have when I didn't have the structure of a time of having to go to work and then to come home from work and to prepare for work and then, the commute back and forth. I seem to like not value my time as much in such a way. Like I started feeling like, oh, there's so much time to do everything. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll just keep working and keep doing this. And what this ended up doing was all that time that I used to spend for me, I was now spending on other people and things that were not moving me forward, things that were not connected to me, and they weren't really, they weren't. I wouldn't want to say enlightening me, but they weren't inspiring me. That's what it was. But so I just sort of tuned out, got into this routine, and then started losing track of the days. And so what happened? Suddenly, I was burnt out. I'm going to take my glasses off because I see that they are messing with the screen. I was burnt out. Like I couldn't do anything. I was exhausted. I was just completely I was spent, and it was sort of like they talk about like a toad in boiling water. He doesn't know that the water is getting too hot until it's too late, until it's so hot that it kills the toad. That's how it was for me. I was spending so much time on what other people were doing, or not what other people were doing, but on my work all the time. I was not spending any time on me, and it just sort of added up that way. So I realized that I didn't want to be that way, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to continue living this way. So I found that there are certain things that when I didn't have the structure of that kind of 9 to 5 schedule around me anymore, I needed to make the structure. And so here's some of the things that I started doing that really helped me out a lot. I still use them today, and maybe you can use them as well. All right. So first one, and this might be a tough one, but it's such a big one, is avoid using your phone while you're in bed. And the reason is just because it's so easy to stay in bed all day. It's so easy to get hooked on just going through your phone and staying in bed all day long. But also, like if you're using it before you go to bed, I find this happens with me if I do it when I was doing it. And I really don't do this anymore. Is using my phone in bed right before I go to sleep. I find it really messes with my sleep and it makes me cranky, and it makes me just not have the energy I need during the week. Also, just make your bed like your sacred space. Like that is a space just for you and for whoever you share it with, right? So you bring your whole work in there if you want, but if you leave it as a sacred space, it makes it easier to relax. It makes it easier to balance. Okay, when am I working? When am I not working? And not bring work into every single aspect of your life in your house, where we all are right now, all day long. The next piece here is on that note to set up a workspace. Set up a space in your house that is where you will be productive at whatever it is that you are productive at. So maybe it is a desk where you have your computer. Maybe it's a bench in your garage if you're working on something. It could be anywhere, but make a specific spot that is just for your productivity. And that does a couple things. It basically separates your work from your play. Like for me, my desk is where a normal person's, someone else's dining room might be, right? But I've made it my desk, and this is sort of where I go to do my work. And when I'm relaxing, my work is over here, way where we are, and I go somewhere else. And it makes it easier for me to disconnect from work when I want to. But the other thing is that it also protects both your work and your play. Like you're gonna work so much better and you're gonna play so much more effectively to charge yourself back up when you are not being distracted during either of those tasks. And when you've got separate spaces for them, you have a sort of a different context, a different thought in your mind when you're standing in those specific spaces. Like, oh, okay, am I working now? Am I playing now? So it really helps. I know it's helped for me a lot to fix that mindset and to keep work from just bleeding out all over the house. So that's pretty much all there is all the time. And on that note, the way that you really can get your balance, get your work-life balance, and especially protect those weekends of yours is set and hold your boundaries. Figure out like what do you need, what do you even want, right? To relax, to have your weekend, to have this time to recharge and to be your best self. What do you want? Write it down and then build the rest of your schedule around that. And when it comes time for that, that is time for that, right? If work is calling, no, I'm not available, right? If obviously be available to do your job, but we're talking about the weekends here. So, it's like find your boundaries and hold them. And the real tough thing with holding boundaries, and this is a problem that I had for a long, long time, and I still deal with it all the time, is when holding a boundary, sometimes I feel like, oh, okay, I'm like pushing too hard, right? Am I asking for too much? And the answer is always no. I am not asking for too much. Your personal boundaries are your personal boundaries. So trust them, honor them, set them, and hold them. And then take your weekends, right? Take your time. Make sure that just because you're working from home doesn't mean that you only have to work from home. So I hear about these days, right? Americans are working 3 hours longer every day now in this situation. Many feel like they got something to prove how productive they are, to hang on to a job, or just to stay in contact or what have you. You got nothing to prove. You got nothing to prove. You can do whatever you like. So set your time, right? You do not have to give your entire life over to trying to impress other people or to trying to prove productivity to somebody else or to yourself. Set your time. Keep your time. Set those boundaries. Keep your places sacred. Tell me how it goes. This is a brave new world. I'm super excited about it, but I know it's a really difficult time. So let me know what's going on with you. And as always, if you are really having a tough time adjusting to this time right now, or you are just looking for a way forward, then I've got something for you. You can get your free copy of my ebook, How to Unlock and Unleash Your Superpower. It is your guide to go from scarcity to abundance. It's going to help clear up a lot of this stuff. And when you get, I got a lot of good stuff for you waiting behind. So I'm going to put a link to that in the chat. Steve, thank you again for stopping by today. I really appreciate it. I hope you are all having just an excellent Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. And I will talk to you tomorrow.